Thank you for completing the review questions from day 11 and day 12. Today's going to be our third lesson of the detail sentences. So today we will be discussing two things that will help you fulfill the 5 requirements we did yesterday. We will be first looking at a paragraph diagram that will help you plan the details that you will discuss in your paragraph, as well as the sequence, transitions, point of view, and tense you will use. Then we will discuss how you can adapt the pen steps for writing detailed sentences. As we discuss the paragraph diagram and the pen steps, please make sure that you're listening and then taking notes, and so that you can answer any questions that we will have about this. So if you look here, this is the paragraph diagram you will be using. It shows the plan for a paragraph describing a person's room. So if you look there, it says the topic, my room. My room is the main idea of the paragraph. And then if you look here at number 2, it lists the details. So we have a bunk bed, posters, dresser, bookshelf, and pennants. Notice that the details have been briefly noted here using 1 or 2 words for each. When the detail sentences are written, they will introduce many more words and ideas about these details to make the paragraph interesting. What might the detail sentences about the pennants describe in order to make the sentence interesting? You could use numbers, you could use colors, you could use schools that they represent as different options. And if you look here, we have for number 3 here, sequence. So we want to make sure that we describe pick which sequence we're going to use. So if you look here for this example, they used space and left to right. The space sequence is indicated here because these details are objects that are arranged in space. The diagram also has circles. So if you look over here, we have the circles that go with it. The circles in which you can write numbers to indicate which detail will be first. So if you look here, posters is listed as first, bunk beds is listed as second, pennants is listed as third, dresser is listed as fourth, and bookshelf is listed as fifth. Then we're going from left to right in our space sequence. So that those numbers go with that information. And then we have transitions. So our transitions are listed here, so are in our order. So over here on the transitions that have been chosen to be used each time. So transitions is number 5, sorry. This was our order already that we had picked. So transitions we have for the bunk bed on the left wall, posters against the left wall, dresser in the middle, bookshelf on the right side, and pennants to the far left. These all go with the space sequence. So those look good. And then number 6 up here, we have to pick the point of view. If you look there, we have a 3, so that means that we're using third person point of view. And remember, you have first, second, or third that you can pick. The 3 is used here to represent the third person point of view. You can use a number or actually write the word first, second, or third in the box. The third person point of view is used here because the paragraph will be about something other than the writer and the reader. It will be about objects in a room. And the last step is number 7, which is picking our tense. So if you look there, we have present tense was picked. So that you would have present, past, or future, past, present, or future. Make sure I say them correctly. All right, so this is going to be your paragraph diagram that you're going to use. This is the finished version that we have for the My Room topic. So make sure that when you're doing these, you're going to be using those pen strategies again. So we're going to go over those. And the first step is to pick a sentence type and formula. This is the same as the topic sentence one, so you'll pick a sentence type and formula. In this case, you will choose to write a detailed sentence instead of a topic sentence. As we have a new detail, we call this a lead-off sentence. Alternate to lead, you can choose to write a detailed sentence that expands on the detail. We call that a follow-up sentence, which is a review from our lesson 1 of this describe step. What type of words would you add to the detail sentence if you were introducing a detail for the first time in the sentence? That would be transition words. So here is step 2. Step 2 is that we're going to explore words to include in the detail, and we will use transition words if it introduces a detail, and we will make sure that we use the right point of view, and we will make sure that we use the right tense. So as you explore the words, keep 3 of the 5 requirements for detail sentences in mind. In your paragraph diagram, you have already listed details that relate to the topic sentence, and you will have specified an order in which the details will be discussed. Thus, the first 2 requirements will have been taken care of as long as you paid attention to writing about the details in the order you had indicated on the diagram. The third requirement is that must be taken into account as you write the detailed sentences are the transition, the point of view, and the tense, which we have up here. The words that you will use for the sentence must include the transition you had planned for the sentence, so that's the one from the diagram that you already wrote out. The words must also include the detail that is related to the topic, and the point of view and tense of the sentence must match the point of view and tense of the other sentences in the paragraph. So then our third step is that we're going to note the words. Once you've thought about the words you want to use, write them on your paper. That's what note the words mean. As you write your transition, what might you have to remember? You want to remember that you're going to use a comma after the transition words. So then we're at step 4, which is search and check. After you've written the sentence, it's very important to make sure that it matches the type of detailed sentence and formula you've chosen. Therefore, you must use the verb-subject identification procedure to search for the verbs and subjects, so make sure that it has a verb and a subject. Also, you must check the sentence to make sure it fulfills the requirements for detailed sentences. It's important to do this 4th step because it helps ensure that your sentence is complete and in that it is coordinated with the rest of the sentences in the paragraph. What should you do first to search for the verbs and subjects? So you want to make sure that you look for the action words, which will help you find those verbs. Be sure to look for helping verbs as well as main verbs, and to look for more than one verb when the formula calls for it. When you find the verb or verbs, this is a good time to check whether you use the right verb tense. After you've found the verb or verbs in the sentences and checked that you are the right tense, then what do we get to do? We get to ask who or what, the who or what question, so that we find out the subject. I'm glad you remembered that. You'll have to ask the who what question to help you find the subject or subjects. When you find the subject, this is a good time to check whether the subject corresponds to the point of view that you had chosen. If you find that the subject of the sentence is I, and you have written all the other sentences using the second person point of view, then you're going to need to make sure that you rewrite them picking either I or you as your point of view so that you have the correct one. If the point of view doesn't match up with your plan and with the other sentences you've read, you'll have to change the sentences. Finally, after you've found the verbs and subjects and checked the 3 paragraph tips, remember to read the whole sentence one last time to see if it makes sense and does the job it is intended to do. So we want to make sure that we use this step every time that we write a detailed sentence. And we want to make sure that we use this pen strategy all the time. So with that, I'm going to have A few questions here for you to answer about this lesson, and then we will be ready for the next ones where I will model it. Thank you.